Hi everyone, I cannot believe 2023 is here, but here we are. So for this month's videos, we are going to be talking about New Year, New You. I'm going to cover some of the basics of health. This first video, I'm going to talk about food because that seems to be a very common topic when you start thinking about health and how you can improve your physical body. So I found a quote from Thomas Fuller that I thought was kind of funny when you're thinking about food and potentially changing your eating habits. I don't recommend using the word diet. I think that that is a short-term fix to a much deeper problem. So I would rather make some lifestyle changes that are sustainable. So the quote says, "All things are difficult before they are easy." And that is very true, especially when you're talking about food. So when you're making changes to your diet and really anything, it's going to be hard at first and then eventually it's going to become easier. So my first biggest tip for food in general, as far as health and digestion, and I did some digestive videos a few months ago, so if you missed that, if I remember, I'll link them in the comments here. The first best tip for digestion is to chew your food. A lot of us rush through meals and such, so we don't take the time that we need to chew things properly, and that just makes a lot of work for our digestive system. So make sure you're chewing your food a bunch of times, not a few times, a lot before you're swallowing, because it's helping to start that breakdown process. You also want to take time eating. I know as busy moms, that is easier said than done. Sometimes you might want to wait until the kids are in bed maybe and do a meal like at nap time or after bedtime if you can wait that long, but make sure you're taking the time, if at all possible, to take your time while you're eating so you're not just shoving a bunch of food and eating it quickly and stressing out your digestive system. My daughter had some dental issues, and I actually talked to a few different dentists, and one of them recommended something that really stuck with me. He explained that the mouth has to get back to what's called homeostasis, so it's like happy place, and that takes a while. So for those of us who like to constantly sip throughout the day, my children love to snack throughout the day, that constant presence of something in your mouth is actually harming your natural bacteria and things that are in there, trying to get it back to that homeostasis, that perfect spot. So he said that constant snacking is really bad for oral health, and he said it takes about an hour for the bacteria and the pH in your mouth to restabilize. So try to wait that long before you are allowing your kids to snack and snacking yourself. If you like to sip on things, try to cut back with that and limit that so you're not constantly reintroducing different pH, different flavors and things into your mouth. Drinking water obviously is fine, but every hour at least you should be taking a break from food and drinks so your mouth can restabilize. It is also recommended that you eat more often than 3 huge meals that we have. Many of us tend to eat 3 super large meals. That's actually very stressful for your digestive system. It's really better if you can eat smaller meals, maybe 5 throughout the day. Again, not possible for everyone, but if it is, try it out. You also want to make sure you're reading the ingredients. I could really go on for a long time on this video, but I'm doing my best to respect your time and not blabber on here. So I'm just skimming the surface. If you want more information, you can drop that in the comments, more info on food or something of the sort, and I can get you way more. So this is just bare minimum things that I think are really important, and I'm already up to 4 minutes, so let's go. Read the ingredients. If you can't pronounce it or it sounds like it was created in a chemistry lab, you have no idea what it is, you should not be putting it in your body. You should know what you're eating. A lot of our issues, I believe, are related to our food that we're eating, so make sure you're reading your ingredients. I do not like to use olive oil when cooking. I've done research and there's some controversial studies and things that kind of conflict each other, but I just choose to avoid it just to be safe. It has a really low boiling temperature, so when you heat it, it actually can release some not so good things. So we choose either butter or coconut oil when we're cooking instead of olive oil. Olive oil is better for colder things like salad dressings and that you're not going to be heating it up. Also in recipes, when it calls for olive oil, I usually put in butter. Depends on what it is. Sometimes you can substitute other things for the olive oil. You don't want to have that heating element because that's what releases all the bad stuff. They're called free radicals and they damage your cells. So you want to make sure you're eating good fats. That is not ice cream. Good fats like avocados and dark chocolate and nuts and eggs, chia seeds, coconuts, coconut oil, all those things. Full fat yogurt. Make sure if you are eating things that you are not going for the fat-free or the low-fat option, because chances are they're putting things in it to replace the fat that are way worse for you. And it's actually pretty interesting if you look at when the food industry started brainwashing, I'm not sure that's the correct terminology. The food industry started marketing that fat was bad, and they started teaching the consumer to look for fat and avoid fat, and the sugar spiked and the fat went down. And guess which one is better for our body? Good fat is better for our body than sugar. And if you do a little bit of research, you can find some pretty interesting commonalities between when we started ditching fats and increasing sugar and the obesity rate in America, which is very telling, I believe. So make sure that you're not doing like a low-fat diet, or you're not drinking diet sodas. Those are super bad for you. It actually makes your body crave sugar because you're eating or drinking things that are not sugar, and your body just gets really confused. It doesn't know what to do. A lot of the fake sugar has been proven to actually be worse for you than the real thing. So if you want the soda, drink the real soda, the real one. And some of the companies have actually gone back to like the cane sugar, which is way better than the high fructose corn syrup, which is fake sugar. So if you can find cane sugar soda and you have a craving for a soda, go for it. Just avoid the diet soda and the fake sugar. And obviously you're not having that every day. That would be like a treat or a special occasion. If it's your birthday, you want to have a piece of real birthday cake, you know, you get the drift. Another tip real quick, if you are shopping in the grocery store, the perimeter is going to be where you want to spend a majority of your time. That's where all of the produce and the dairy and things are that are going to go bad. If you have a box of some kind of processed food and it is shelf stable for 9 months, a year and a half, there are tons of preservatives in that, and that is how it's able to be shelf stable, which is super convenient for the consumer, but not super great for you when you're eating that full of preservative food. So shop the perimeter, with the exception of the rice and beans. Those are also very good for you, but they're going to be in the aisles. But for a majority of your trip, you should be on the perimeter, because that's the stuff that's going bad. That's the stuff that's from nature. It wasn't made in a plant. It came from a plant or an animal. That's what you want to be spending most of your time and your money on. So it's also important to eat a variety of foods and eat as much as you can, as close to nature as you can get it. If you can get in with a some kind of co-op or like a farmer where you can get straight from the source, that's amazing. Obviously, that's not always doable for everyone's situation, but that's the best way to get your food, because then you're cutting out the middleman and you have more of an idea of where your food's coming from, and you can build relationships with farmers and support local farmers, which is always amazing. The food that you are putting in your body is going to do one of two things for you. It's going to bring life, or it's going to bring death. It's going to give your body the fuel that it needs, or it's going to create an environment that's really hospitable for diseases and viruses. So you have to choose which one you want. Obviously, we all want the one that doesn't make it easy for viruses and the bad stuff to be in our bodies, but that causes you to make some hard choices. And if it's a special celebration, eat the birthday cake. But you really shouldn't be having birthday cake or ice cream every single day, every single meal. You shouldn't have a sweet. So it's just moderation and having that willpower. You also want to make sure you're eating a variety of colors, a variety of fruits and vegetables. You want to make sure you're eating raw fruits and vegetables and cooked vegetables. The different colors in the vitamins, the different colors in the produce actually gives you an idea of kind of the different vitamins and minerals that are in there. So if you have a whole plate of orange, you're not getting a very good variety as far as what your body can pull from that. I mentioned the correlation between getting rid of fats, adding sugar, and American obesity rates. I learned that from Sally Fallon. She is an excellent resource. If you are curious, her website is nourishingtraditions.com. She has a book. She talks about all kinds of things. She is very much a great resource to check out if you haven't heard of her. Basically, what she advocates for is going back to the basics, like how our ancestors ate. If you're able to bake your own bread, you know exactly what's in it. Great. If you're able to have those connections with the farmers, grow your own food in your garden, those are all ways that you're getting the best food for your body. It's just going back to the basics and eating as closely as we can to our ancestors, and just giving our body the best that we can. You also want to try and eat seasonal produce as much as you can, because that's the best. It doesn't have to travel long distances to get to you. The chances of it being sprayed with different things to make sure that it makes that long trip are lower. So indigenous to your area, specific to your season, is the best way to eat. There's another resource I want to share. It's called ewg.org, and they have tons of resources. I found a list that they had. It's called the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. If you're on a budget and you're trying to figure out which produce you need to buy organic and which you don't have to, there's a list there. They call it the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. Like, the Dirty Dozen is the top 12 produce items that are usually the worst as far as pesticides and other chemicals. So I hope that gave you some value. I really tried to stick under 10 minutes, but I went a little bit over. So if you enjoyed that, I'd love to know. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Hope that gave you some value.